Perfect. Alipay. Well, should we see what foods we've ordered? What's come here? Oh, flipping heck. Well, you've got... Oh, it's rice. I thought it was noodles. It's rice. Oh, get that. They said it's Neuro. Neuro is beef. They also said it's La. La is spicy. Let's try it. Surprisingly good. The amount of tunnels and bridges and construction works we're speeding through on our way to Kunming is incredible. And it does make you question just how China can achieve such feats of engineering seemingly overnight, whilst Britain has been waiting decades just for a high-speed rail network. I know I'm going to sound like I'm a spokesperson for the Chinese government, but just here on my first day alone makes me realise just how antiquated Britain is. We've made it, finally, to the polished floors of Yunnan Railway Station, Kunming Railway Station, I should say. Look at the shininess. Don't you just love a good old communist banner when you arrive in a new city? Check it out. to make you feel like one of the Chinese proletariat. Let's go look for a hotel. Well, I should have kept those maps they gave me, so it took me bloody hours to find my hotel. I'll show you the room later, but first, I want to take you somewhere that I think is going to be our first dwarf. Got the sad side of being a dwarf. It's not all fun and games like here in the kingdom. Being a dwarf in China, look. Exploited, badly treated, ostracised. Look, little dwarf made to carry things. Oh. Why would anyone be horrible to a little dwarf? And here we have a gallery of leaders. Oh, it's interesting. A nice historical touch, some information. Oh, we got old Slobberdown. Oh, it's a little dwarf. Wow, we found the dwarf. Great. A bald dwarf. Let's get back to Kunming. Well, the reason it took so long to find a hotel earlier is because it's on the 34th flipping floor of a building. Anyway, let me show you what 20 quid gets you here in Zhonghua. What? 你们好。我不知道，我不知道。啊，对，好，谢谢。Okay, we're in. Finally, technology. It's not always a good thing. Right. This is what 20 quid gets you in China. Check it out. There you get a big bed, you get a little sofa, you get a table, you get some place to put your stuff. You get a lovely view of the city of Kunming, and let's check out the bathroom. Little toilet that lifts up. It knows when you want to do a crap. And a shower. 20 quid in Kunming here in China. Oh. There's a everyone uses Proton in China. Anyway, so no. Ni hao, you use Proton? Yes? Good. So whether I'm in a remote, the Eiffel Tower or Big Ben was lit up in honour of those poor sods that got killed that day. Anyway, let's jump on a train to Chongqing. Well, Chinese railway stations are super impressive. They're built like airports. It's like being in Dubai Airport or somewhere. Heathrow. And it makes sense because from this station and the other stations in China, you can take trains on mega journeys. Some going up to 4 days if you're going to Urumqi, up on the border with Kazakhstan, or if you're going maybe to Algiers. You need these massive stations to ferry people onto those trains that are going to take them in all different directions across, wow, what is, I believe, the third largest country in the world, China. And one of those scripts up there behind me, oh, I don't know which one, I hope says Chongqing, which is where we're going this morning. We're going to Chongqing, which is actually the largest city in the world by population, bigger than Tokyo, bigger than Shanghai, bigger than Beijing. Chongqing. One of those. Not sure which one, but hopefully one of them's up there. Chongqing. Let's go and check it out. Check out this train. You can already tell by the shape and design, the sleekness, that it is going to fly across this country. We're going to cross half of China in about 5 hours. Let's find our seat. Oh, wow. It's like entering an aeroplane. Look at this. Special business meetings for the Politburo. Check this out. 11C. I'm actually in this one. I'm in the Politburo cabin. Flippin' heck. Look at this one. Business meetings. 11C. Got my own little door. This is how you travel in style. Oh, yeah. You get used to this, travelling in old China. Can we put the seat back? Oh. This is the life. Well, the journey is about to begin. The more... Something else. Some crackers. I think there's some garden peas. And a communist Coke. Check it out. Chinese communist Coke. I think this is a fake Coca-Cola. Or maybe that's just how you say Coke in Chinese, I don't know. How fast does the fastest train in the UK go? Because right now on this one we're doing almost 300 kilometres. 278. This country, not that long ago, was a basket case. Had famines, communist, and in the space of what, 30 years, it's overtaken us. How have they done that? Shocking. Bloody hell. Chongqing looks a bit grey and miserable. Let's see what it's like. Soba. Oh. Chongqing Railway Station. At midday. Flipping heck. Is it just me or is it dead grey here? I need to buy a ticket to a place called Qixinggang. I have no idea how to do this, it's all in Chinese. Oh my god, these are the joys of travelling.
non-GAAP financial measures. You can find a reconciliation of these non-GAAP financial measures to GAAP financial measures in our CFO commentary, which is posted on our website. With that, let me turn the call over to Colette.
Thank you, Toshiya. We delivered an exceptional quarter with revenue, operating income, and free cash flow exceeding our prior records. Total revenue of $82 billion was up 85% year over year and 20% sequentially. This marked our third consecutive quarter of year-over-year acceleration and the 14th straight quarter of sequential growth, a significant feat given the sheer size and complexity of our manufacturing operations. The $13.5 billion sequential revenue increase was also a record. We capitalized on the inflection in inference demand by ramping Blackwell systems across our diverse end customer base, from hyperscalers to model makers to AI cloud providers and sovereign customers. In Q1, we also allocated capital effectively across R&D, investments in our ecosystem, and share repurchases. We returned a record $20 billion to our shareholders while executing strategic investments, both upstream supply chain and downstream go-to-market ecosystem. This is critical to the market's development and our long-term position. Data center revenue of $75 billion was up 92% year over year and 21% sequentially, driven by sustained strength in our Blackwell architecture. And demand for GB300 and BL72 was particularly strong, with frontier model builders and hyperscalers each having cumulatively deployed hundreds and thousands of Blackwell GPUs, marking the fastest product ramp in our company's history. Grace Blackwell is the fastest training system as well as the lowest token generation cost at inference. Spectrum X, our end-to-end Ethernet platform purpose-built for AI, is now larger than all Ethernet network peers combined. InfiniBand has also had a very strong quarter, growing more than 4x year over year, driven by deployments of our next-generation XDR technology. For your models, data center computing revenue of $60 billion was up 77% year over year, while data center networking revenue of $15 billion nearly tripled year over year. Before we deep dive into data center, we'd like to brief you on our transition to a new reporting framework that better reflects our current and future growth drivers. We have two market platforms, data center and edge computing. Within data center, we will report two submarkets, hyperscale and ACIE, which incorporates AI clouds, industrial, and enterprise. Hyperscale will include revenue from the public cloud and the world's largest consumer internet companies, while ACIE addresses our growth opportunities in diverse AI purpose-built data centers and AI factories across industries and countries. Edge computing highlights devices for agentic and physical AI, including PCs, gaming consoles, workstations, AI RAN base stations, robotics, and automotive. For your reference, we have posted on our website a revenue breakdown based on our new platforms for the past 9 quarters. Moving back to our data center results, hyperscale revenue of $38 billion was approximately 50% of data center revenue and increased 12% quarter over quarter. ACIE revenue was $37 billion and grew 31% quarter over quarter, including AI cloud revenue that more than tripled year over year. Our customers have enabled rapid stand-up of AI compute capacity. The number of partner data centers exceeding 10 megawatts has nearly doubled in just 1 year, now surpassing 80 sites. Sovereign revenue increased more than 80% year over year. NVIDIA AI infrastructure is now deployed across nearly 40 countries, representing 50 trillion in GDP. As evident to our Q1 results, our customer base is diverse and growing. Supported by our vast ecosystem and installed base, breadth of CUDA accelerated application, and the lowest token cost provider, we are well positioned to address a market opportunity that far exceeds that of any other AI computing platform. Demand for AI infrastructure continues to expand at an unprecedented pace. The build-out of AI factories is accelerating. The value of NVIDIA AI infrastructure is rising. The price of renting an H100 has risen 20% year to date, while A100 cloud pricing is up nearly 15%. Benefiting from the versatility of our platform and continuous performance enhancements enhanced by our software stack, customers are generating profitable revenue beyond the depreciable life of their GPUs. The vast and trusted marketplace for NVIDIA compute is a critical foundation on which billions in AI infrastructure spending is being financed by the ecosystem. There are two primary drivers behind the accelerating build-out of AI infrastructure. First, from search and advertising to recommender systems and content understanding. The largest hyperscale workloads continue to transition from CPU to GPU-based accelerating computing. Second, the adoption of products and services native to AI
So not
is
everywhere in
inflecting.
China is super
Since the advent
modern,
of ChatGPT,
but,
we have witnessed
looks like good
mainstream
quality. A lot of
AI
cages on the
transition
windows.
from
I
one-shot
don't know if China's
inference
a low-trust
to
society,
reasoning
but every window pretty
and
much
to
seems to have
now
a cage over it.
agentic.
God knows what you do
AI
if there's a
is
fire here.
no longer a nice-to-have. AI is now a necessity for enhancing productivity across all industries and roles. This is propelling revenue acceleration
friendly people in
across all
China. That's one
layers
thing I'm
of
going
the
to
AI
say. The
cake,
Chinese are a
including
friendly
energy,
bunch. They have a
chips,
reputation.
infrastructure,
I think because we only
models,
bump into them when they're
and
abroad,
applications.
and they're a little bit,
Growth in the
boisterous
model layer,
with their photos and
particularly
stuff.
at
But here in
Anthropic
China,
and OpenAI,
they're super
has been
friendly.
incredible,
I
with
don't understand a word
momentum
they're saying, but it's super
continuing to
friendly. And more of
accelerate,
these houses with the
including
cages. Look at this.
breakout growth in
caged houses or
OpenAI's
apartments.
codex since the launch
God knows
of
what you do if there's a
GPT
fire. I don't know. What do you
5.5.
do?
With
And why
analysts
do you
now
have cages all the
forecasting
way up the top? Is that for
hyperscale
burglars
capex to
or-
exceed
I don't know,
1
is that just
trillion
style? I don't
in
know.
Check it
2027
out.
and agentic AI beginning to proliferate, all
These apartment
industries,
buildings are built around little
AI
squares, and on these
infrastructure
little
spending
squares,
is on
you've
track
got like a
to
little
reach
shop over there.
3
You'll have a
to
little
4
shop.
trillion
We'll have a
annually by
restaurant.
the end of this decade.
Maybe a couple restaurants.
Our
Over
Blackwell
there, someone that's
architecture
sewing or
is
something.
everywhere,
So you're going to have like
adopted
different
and
businesses,
deployed
and here's a man
by every
Wow.
major hyperscaler, every
his feet done.
cloud provider, and every major model maker.
Okay.
Last month,
And
we
there's a man
celebrated OpenAI's launch
having a little
of
pedicure
GPT
on the streets of
5.5,
Chongqing.
co-designed for,
Nasty.
trained with,
Oh,
and
there's a man over
served
here
on Blackwell,
fixing a
currently
lady's shoe.
positioned at the top of artificial analysis leaderboards. Microsoft's Fairwater, the world's most powerful AI data center,
There you go.
is now
So
live,
these
ahead of schedule, powered
so
by
these
hundreds
little areas,
of
these little
thousands of
complexes,
Blackwell GPUs.
have everything you need.
Starting
the
this
fruit
year,
shop, the restaurants,
AWS will
someone
add
having their
more than
toenails
1
done, someone having their
million
shoes repaired.
Blackwell and Rubin
And,
GPUs
yeah,
and
that's
are
life
collaborating
here
on
the back
Spectrum
streets of
networking.
Chongqing.
At
And
Google,
so far,
Blackwell will be offered to customers in the cloud, including confidential
No toffee
computing
bricks.
capability,
I
a
hear
new
we have
foundation
some
for
ladies waiting for
secure,
work with their
high-performance
bucket
AI.
and their mops and stuff like that, and someone
Our
will collect them,
share
probably
of
take them to an office.
frontier AI
Have a
compute
good day.
is
Have a good day.
increasing. We have
more
deepened
people
our
here waiting for
collaboration
work,
with
maybe a builder or
Anthropic and are
something.
delighted to be a
Hello.
strategic
Hello.
partner to expand
How are you?
their
Good
compute
luck finding work.
capacity. We will support the company's growth trajectory
Working.
through AWS,
Building.
Azure, CoreWeave,
So, no toffee
SpaceX
bricks.
AI, and more. Now, with the addition of Anthropic to OpenAI, Gemini, SpaceX XAI, Meta,
Metro stations inside of
SL,
apartment buildings.
Microsoft AI, TML, Reflection, Perplexity, Cursor,
Just checking your
and
toffee bricks.
other major frontier labs already building on NVIDIA. Our share of frontier A models will grow significantly. Today's data centers are revenue-generating AI factories. Constrained by power and capital, AI factory operators must choose the right architecture. With our extreme co-design approach, we deliver the industry's lowest token cost, the highest token throughput, and the highest ROI. MLPerf inference results are in, and once again, we swept every benchmark as Blackwell Ultra delivered the highest throughput across the broad set of models and deployment scenarios. Full stack innovations drove the 2.7x increase in throughput and a 60% reduction in the cost per token on GB300 compared to just 6 months ago. NVIDIA Compute is not just the highest performance AI infrastructure, it is the most economic and financeable. Customers do not buy GPUs, they build AI factories. And the right economic metric is not the purchase price of the GPU, it is the lifetime cost of an AI factory producing intelligence, token per watt, tokens per dollar, uptime, utilization, time to production, software durability, and asset life. NVIDIA excels at all of them. Agentic AI and reinforcement learning represents new growth opportunities for CPUs. Building on the success of our Grace CPU, Vera is arriving just in time to meet this inflection. Built on custom ARM cores and co-designed end-to-end with Rubin GPUs
I'm having
and
my sweater
NVLink,
fix here on the streets.
Vera will deliver up to 1.5x faster performance per core, 2x performance per watt, and 4x density per rack compared to x86-based alternatives. Vera CPU opens a brand new $200 billion TAM for NVIDIA, a market we have never addressed before. And every major hyperscale and system maker is partnering with us to get it deployed. We have visibility to nearly $20 billion in total CPU revenue this year, setting us up to become the world-leading CPU supplier.
I'll take you. Have you got any money?
Our annual product cadence, a pace that is
let's be
unmatched,
honest.
remains a key
Views are
pillar
falling.
supporting our market position.
The passion's not there.
We are on track
About time I took-
to commence production shipments of Vera Rubin
In the 13th
second
century, a
half of
young
this year,
Venetian
starting in
but
Q3.
this is just
By
the difference
integrating
between
7
Great
purpose-built
Britain and
chips
China.
across
Is
5
that in China you
accelerated
can have
racks,
nice things like
Vera
a
Rubin will
row with
deliver up
massage
to
chairs for people to
35x
use before their
higher
train journey.
inference throughput
Imagine this
and
in a
up
British.
to 10x
Imagine
greater
this in a
AI
British
factory
railway station. It's really
revenue
powerful.
compared with
You
Blackwell.
couldn't have it in a British railway station.
As an
You'd
early
have a load of
adopter,
dodgy, bloody illegal
Google's
migrants taking shits in
A5X
them.
bare metal
But here in
instances,
China, people
which
respect
can
it
support
seems.
up
The
to
infrastructure, a lot more, so they can
960,000
have
Rubin
nice
GPUs
things.
across multiple sites, can
Britain is a
enable
world away.
customers to run their
Oh, it
largest
really is
AI
going for my
workloads
prostate.
on
Might have to
NVIDIA's
extend for half an hour.
optimized infrastructure.
We have a special line in China for celebrity
While the U.S.
bloggers.
government has approved licenses
one
for
too?
H200 to be shipped to China-based customers, we have yet to generate any
Must be another
revenue,
blogger.
and we are uncertain whether any imports will be allowed into the country. As a result, consistent with last quarter, we are not including any China data center compute
Oh, there you
revenue
go.
in our
The
outlook.
riffraff go in the
Then
other
we move
queues.
to edge
Our
computing.
celebrities.
Our edge computing market platform
Where's our
generated
train?
6.4
The
billion,
city
up
sinning.
10% quarter over
Sinning.
quarter and
For
29%
sinners.
year over year. Robust Blackwell workstation demand was a strong contributor to the growth, while consumer demand fell modestly due to higher memory and system prices. Our physical AI continues to gain momentum, exceeding $9 billion in revenue over the
There we go.
last
It's
12
like being on a
months.
flipping aeroplane. Check
Our
it out.
partnership
First
with
class
Uber
to sinning.
will power the robotaxi fleet
12
across
F.
nearly 30 cities and
12
4
F.
continents by 2028.
It's
And
like
in
being in business
robotics,
class on a flight.
leading
Look at that.
companies
Oh,
across a
what
range of
place, rest me
industrial,
arm.
surgical,
Chill out.
and humanoid applications are building
36
on
quid for
NVIDIA's
4 hours.
technology to develop and deploy at
Good old
scale.
John.
We remain front-footed in securing sufficient supply to support our customers' growth. In Q1, we increased total supply, inclusive of inventory, purchase commitments, and prepaids to $145 billion. While we are not immune to supply challenges, we remain confident in our ability to support the growth opportunity ahead.
But
With our
now we're gonna
intense
wind
focus,
our way
scale,
up to the
and
Tibetan
long-standing
plateau,
partnerships
where
with
the
critical
people, the
suppliers,
ethnicities, and
continuing
the
to serve
cultures
us well.
are going to be very, very different.
Let me move to the rest of the P&L. GAAP gross margin was 74.9%, and non-GAAP gross margins was 75%. Largely flat sequentially, by Blackwell Systems continued to account for most of our shipments. GAAP and non-GAAP operating expenses were up 12% sequentially, primarily due to higher compensation and an increase in compute and infrastructure costs. Our non-GAAP effective tax rate of
we're here
16%
in freezing
came
cold. I was
just
trying to
below
explain to
our
the lady
prior
there's freezing
outlook
cold here.
due to favorable
I
geographic
don't know what the word
mix.
cold is in Chinese.
And on our balance sheet,
Feitong,
days
bruh.
sales outstanding was 45 days
Let's go and
due to
check it
favorable
out.
timing
Where
of
are we?
collections. We expect to return to the mid-50s in Q2.
She done though.
We generated record
This is the
free cash flow,
interesting,
$49 billion, up from
helpful
$35 billion
thing about
in
China
Q4.
is that they build these massive infrastructure
I'd
projects.
now
giant
like
railway
to
stations,
update you on our
bridges,
capital
these cities that we
allocation
can see
plan.
up ahead of us,
First,
these
to
big
reiterate,
modern buildings.
our intention is to prioritize
All these
R&D
projects.
and strategic
The
investments.
strange thing is,
Both will enable
never
us
see the
to
people.
cultivate our ecosystem, drive market growth,
Salam.
and strengthen our market
Pleased to
position.
meet you.
As a key enabler of AI, we will make investments necessary to deliver the industry's lowest cost per token and the highest token throughput, which will help our customers and partners scale and expand the AI frontier. Midterm program is another key component of our capital allocation strategy. Given confidence in our long-term free cash flow outlook and our commitment to sharing our success with shareholders, we are increasing our quarterly dividend from 1 cent to 20 cents per share. We plan to review our dividend on a regular basis as we continue to scale our business. We are also announcing an $80 billion share repurchase authorization, which is in addition to the $39 billion remaining on our current plan.
1.5 million people
As
in
we
China,
indicated
but
at
you never see
GTC,
crowds.
we plan to
The
return
cities are
roughly
empty for some reason.
50% of free
I
cash
don't know
flow
if
to shareholders this
COVID
year.
did away with a lot of them.
Let me turn to the outlook
or
for the
what the
second
situation
quarter.
is, where they all are.
Total
But you just
revenue is
never see
expected to be
masses of people
$91
like you see in
billion,
India
plus or
or
minus
Bangladesh or somewhere.
2%.
Yet there's
We
more
expect
people here than in
sequential
those
growth
countries,
to
I
be
think.
driven primarily
Anyway,
by data center. We are
let's carry on
continuing
into
to work
little old friendly singing,
vigorously
where
on
I am
our
a bit of
supply
a
chain
celebrity, it seems.
ecosystem to address the
Hello,
incredible
how are you?
demand
Pleased to
we
meet
see
you.
ahead of us,
Wow, I'm a
giving
major
us
celebrity
full
in singing.
confidence
Flipping
in the
heck.
$1 trillion in
They must watch the
Blackwell
channel.
and Rubin
Hello.
revenue we
Wow.
foresee from
I might move to singing.
2025 through
And sing.
calendar 2027. GAAP and non-GAAP gross margins are expected to be 74.9 and 75% respectively, plus or minus 50 basis points. For the full year, we are still expecting
I speak
to
English.
be in the mid-70s.
GAAP
GAAP and non-GAAP
finally
operating
someone
expenses are
understood my
expected to be
interest.
approximately $8.5 billion and $8.3
This is
billion,
real China
respectively.
life. Little old bloke
For the
sitting
full year, we
outside
now
shops,
expect
nothing
OpEx
to do.
growth to grow somewhere
Up
in the
ahead, I
upper
can see some
40s
Tibetans.
on a year-over-year basis, driven by higher R&D and acceleration in the usage of AI tools to
This is
enhance
Tibet.
productivity.
Although it's the province of Singhai,
For the full
we
year
are up
2027,
in Tibet.
we expect GAAP and non-GAAP tax rates
And this
to
is
be
the
between
second most
16
important
and
and the second
18%,
largest monastery
excluding any
in all of
discrete
Tibet.
items
Look
from
at it.
material changes to our tax
Hundreds and
environment.
hundreds of years
This is
old.
lower than our prior expectation of 17 to 19 due to changes in geographic mix. That
It
puts
was
me at the end
Indian
of this
Buddhist
part,
monks who
and I'm
travelled the
going to
Silk
now
Road
turn this
2,000
over
years ago,
to the Q&A
crossed over
with
the
Toshio.
dangerous Himalayan passes.
Thanks, Colette.
that
We
brought
will
with
now
them
transition to
their
Q&A.
religion,
Operator, please
where
pull
it
for questions.
flourished here, up
Thank you.
on the
At
high
this time, I would like
passes
to remind
of the
everyone,
Tibetan
in order
plateau.
to ask a question, press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll pause for
Little
just a
Tibetan
moment to
lady.
compile the
Little Tibetan
Q&A
babushka.
roster. As a reminder, please
Never
limit
seen one of
yourself
them
to
before.
1 question. Thank you.
Let's walk together.
Your first
Oh,
question comes
she's got
from
COVID.
Joseph Moore with Morgan Stanley. Your line is open.
Great. Thank you for letting me ask a question. I guess I'd like to ask, what drove the change in segmentation? What's the philosophy behind
Thank you very much.
giving us the numbers that way?
You're a nice person.
And then can you talk about any competitive differences
Nice,
between the two
friendly
segments
Buddhist lady who's
and
giving me a
this
little
kind of
sweet.
surprising CPU number that you talked about?
And I wonder
How do
what
you see
Marco
that
Polo
across the
made
two
of the
segments as
Buddhists
well?
when he
Thank
came
you.
up here. in the
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
1200s. These temples,
First of
not
all,
this exact one, but other ones, like this
Colette
other
meant to
Buddhist
say
temples
we're
existed here
increasing our
when
quarterly
Marco Polo passed
dividends
through.
from
I've
1
ended up
cent
in a Chinese tour
to
group.
25 cents.
Crikey.
I think that extra 5
following
cents
the
would mean a
flag.
lot to the large shareholders. So anyhow, let's see, Joe, on the segmentation
Wow, there
and
we
the
go. I've joined the
description
tour
of the
group.
business, we wanted you to understand our business better. AI is very diverse, and computing is diverse.
Wow.
They're diverse in several ways. The first thing, of
Friendly
course,
people.
is
But they've
AI
got a clue what I'm
includes
saying.
languages.
I thought Dulé
Depending
was a
on the
word I
different
learned
industries,
in
it could be
Ladakh,
3D graphics,
which I presumed
for
meant flipping
manufacturing
hello
and
in Tibetan.
industrial robotics.
Maybe
it could
it
be
doesn't, because when I said Dulé
protein
to her, she
for
had no idea what I was
life
talking about.
sciences. It could be small chemicals for life sciences or material sciences.
come.
It could be physics
Come on through.
for the physical sciences, whether it's in the energy sector or, of course, the science labs, higher
If you
education,
read
so on
and
and so
believe the
forth.
Western
So
press,
AI is diverse.
You'd believe that
The second thing is
there's
the
no
applications are
freedom of
diverse.
religious expression.
It could be in
Up on the Tibetan
enterprise.
plateau.
It could be
That
in the
people
energy
aren't free
sector,
to
manufacturing
even
sector,
speak
and
their own
such.
language.
Where it runs is
However,
diverse.
from my
It could be in the
admittedly very
hyperscale
superficial
cloud.
20 minutes
It
here
could
in the
be
temple,
AI
where
natives.
people are openly
These
praying,
a whole
where I've heard
network
lots
of AI
Tibetan
natives that
being
are
spoken,
cropping up around the
where there's
world.
Tibetan writing
Enterprises
everywhere, where the
on-prem,
monasteries are open.
industrial in the factories,
It
in the
makes you
plants,
wonder if maybe
all the way
the
to
Western press
supercomputing
isn't
centers
telling the full story.
and the edge.
And just
Edge
maybe,
including, of course, what most people
Things
see,
ain't too bad,
self-driving cars, robotics,
right?
but a
Yes,
large
she agrees.
growing network of computers inside manufacturing plants, whether it's a chip plant or
20
packaging or
yuan,
computer
nah,
plants,
20
all
yuan.
kinds of different types of
Per giga?
manufacturing plants.
20
And then, of course, in the future,
giga
every single base
Giga
station, every single radio network would become an
50?
AI-powered
50?
radio network. And so where it runs, and then lastly, how it's governed. You know, it
Come
could
on
be
then,
operated
because you're
by
a
a
young
public
Bud-
cloud,
are you a
but it
Buddhist
could
lady?
also
Tibetan lady?
have
Sure.
industrial
Yeah,
regulatory reasons
I'm in a
that
good
prevents
mood.
it from being run
So I'm
in
gonna
a
buy
regulatory
something.
cloud. It could be because
Don't
of
give me the no
confidential
change
computing.
stuff.
It could be because of national security reasons. Different data centers have to be built differently. NVIDIA is quite unique in the sense that we are the only company that builds
Oh my God, you're
all of
jolly
the
young
technology
Buddhist. Come on then,
components.
Zoba.
We build it in an
Zoba.
extreme co-design way,
Yeah, wow.
in a complete
I got
end-to-end
hustled
way, in a
outside
full
of a
stack
Tibetan
way.
temple for
But then we, of
bracelet.
course, open the platform so
Maybe
that
it'll
it could
bring
be
us luck on the Silk
integrated
Road.
into all the different environments.
She could just walk off
But
and I won't
some
be able to catch her,
environments
walk off
just
with my change.
require,
Where's she going?
an enterprise,
Little
for
legs.
example, require a company who
Strutting
has
up the
all of the
road.
technologies working
And I
together
know what some
so that
of
they
you
don't have to
fucking
build it.
idiots are
They would
saying.
like to
You're
buy it
saying,
and operate
Just
it.
give her the fiver change.
And so there's
No.
many different segments
You
of the data
simps.
center market where NVIDIA's
What's happening
total
here?
solution, fully integrated solution
Les Ramoyens,
with
je l'ai,
full
je l'ai.
stack, but still open, that way of doing,
Kenfusa.
producing or delivering products is really, really important.
Kenfusa.
And so if you look at our different segments, the way we broke it
What's
out
going
into
on?
3 large segments.
Shishini.
You take all of the words that I just said, and you try to find the simplest
Okay, my friend.
factoring of it. It would be the hyperscale clouds.
Okay. Oh, nice English.
That would be one
Oh,
large segment.
Ingwada.
And within that
Ingwada.
segment, there's 3 different ways that we operate. First way is that we help the hyperscale clouds
Very nice to meet you.
accelerate
Bye-bye.
their
Say Jen.
data
Bye-bye.
processing and machine learning
There we go.
workloads.
We met ourselves a
We
little
accelerate and
friendly
support
Tibetan.
their AI processing
And I bought a
inside.
bracelet I
We
don't want
also,
for a
of
fiver.
course, bring a lot
She
of
must have
business,
said a
NVIDIA
fiver.
ecosystem business to their public
Flipping,
clouds.
you can
And
take
so
a
that's
train
one
across
segment.
China for 6
The second segment
I paid a
is
fiver.
AI natives,
Shishini.
enterprise on-premise,
Right then, let's have
industrial
some fun.
on-premise.
If
And
you've
that
been
in
watching
sovereign
this
AI,
channel, you know
that
that
segment is
sometimes I
growing
get myself
incredibly
into some
fast.
pretty
Because
hectic
everybody needs AI.
situations. So
You're
I
going to
want
see
to watch all my
AI
favorite
being
shows and restricted location
adopted by
content
every
at
industry,
the end of
every
the day
country,
to
every
unwind.
company.
How
So
do I do
everybody
that?
wants to build it in
I
a different
use
way.
Proton VPN.
The fact that we provide the
Safely
entire
connecting
solution,
to one of Proton's
it makes
thousands
it
of
much
servers
easier,
in over
it makes it
110
possible at all for people to be
down
able
to
to build it.
Gansu
And then, of
province.
course, the
But the only
robotic
ticket
edge.
available
Today, yesterday's
on a
computing
hard
was largely
seat.
about personal computing.
I don't know what a
In the
hard
future, it's going to be
seat
about
is,
personal
but We're
AI.
going to find out.
And that personal AI, one example
not
of it is
roughing
a
it with
self-driving
the
car.
riffraff.
It's a car, it's a robotic system that's
In-
essentially your personal AI. And of
Okay.
course, there'll be all kinds of different types of robotic
What the hell
systems,
is this place?
including even the base station radio network, as I mentioned, is going to be essentially a robotic system. So that's the reason why we broke it all apart this way. It's the simplest way of understanding our business. Each one of them have different stacks in a lot of ways. They have different operating systems. They operate in a different way. We go to market very differently in each one of them. The easiest go to market, of course, is the hyperscaler, because there are only 5 or 6 of them. But the rest of them, the rest of the industry represents a couple of 250,000 companies around the world. That go-to-market is very complex, very diverse. Your understanding of AI has to be extremely diverse. And as you know, NVIDIA has the largest suite of acceleration libraries in the world, from computational lithography to fluid dynamics to particle physics to molecular dynamics. The list goes on.
This very gate
And all of those
was the
libraries are
entrance point
essential
to the
for
Middle
us to
Kingdom
engage
for
the
traders who
vertical
come
industries
from India,
that represent
Afghanistan,
the
Europe,
second and the third
Venice.
category. Okay,
marked
so
the
anyways,
very end
it's
of their
really about
journey.
the fact that our business has now evolved
And it's
and
still
grown to
standing
such a
here,
large scale.
hundreds
It's
and
helpful to
hundreds of
segment
years
it so that you have a better
full of
understanding
noisy Chinese
of how our
tourists.
business works.
Ni hao. Hello, ni hao.
Your
They
next
weren't here back in
question
the day.
comes from Ben
But here in
Reitzes
Gansu
with
province,
Melius
this still
Research.
survives.
Your line is open.
Wow.
Hey guys, thanks so much.
Who knew?
I wanted to
Mysterious
ask
Gansu
Jensen.
province.
I want to ask you about
no
your
idea.
philosophy on growth. Your data center business ex-China grew about 120% in the quarter, and then you're guiding about 100. CapEx at the hyperscalers is forecast by many, including myself, to grow 90 to 100% this year. And you talked about data center, still on track to be 3 to 4 trillion by the end of the decade. I was just wondering, is the goal for the company to grow faster than hyperscaler CapEx? Are you comfortable in kind of endorsing that view? And do you still see hyperscaler CapEx kind of still growing after this year at a very rapid clip? Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. So first of all, we should be growing faster than hyperscale CapEx. And the reason for that is illustrated by the segmentation that I just described. Our data center business has 2 large parts. It has more parts than that, but we combined it into 2 large parts for simplicity's sake. It's much more complex than the 2 large parts, but I combined it into 2 so that it's at least easier to understand, okay? And so if you look at the first part is hyperscalers. That's the hyperscale CapEx that you were just talking about. And there are $1 trillion this year. I have every expectation it's going to grow from here for fundamentally good reasons. This is the way computing is going to work in the future. And if they don't have the compute, they won't have the revenues. It is very clear. Compute is revenues. Compute is profit. And so the world is changing. Software didn't used to use, SaaS didn't used to use as much compute, but AI requires a tremendous amount of compute. But you could do, of course, incredibly more, which is the reason why we heard about the AI frontier AI companies, both Anthropic and OpenAI, growing at an incredible pace. The fact that they can grow within 1 month, what some of the SaaS companies would have taken a decade to grow, tells you something. And so the first category is hyperscale, and the CapEx is at $1 trillion, and it's growing towards the 3 to 4. The second category is all of the AI native clouds. They're regional. They're all over the place. There are startups all over the world supporting those companies. They're enterprise, 250,000 enterprise companies around the world. Many of them will have to build or want to build AI factories for themselves to operate. Many industrial companies, there's no choice but to put the computer where the context is, where the action is. You can't put that in the cloud. It has to respond reliably, quickly, every single time. Can't imagine, a chip plant, a chip fab being connected to a cloud service provider. Doesn't make any sense. And so the second category, and then sovereign AI clouds. And so there's a whole category of data centers that semi-custom chips just don't apply, because these data centers want to buy systems, they want to operate systems, they don't want to design, they don't want to build it themselves. And so the second category is extremely diverse. Instead of 5 or 6, 7 companies representing the revenues associated with our first category, the second category is hundreds, thousands of companies, and in the future it'll be hundreds of thousands of companies with a large number of companies with smaller installations. And that category is going to continue to grow at incredible pace. This second category, when I talk about physical AI and I talk about how the rest of the $100 trillion industry that has not been impacted by IT in the last 30 years, it's about to be impacted by AI. That is the segment that I'm talking about. The second cluster is growing incredibly fast. Our share of that, of course, is very, very large. We're fairly unique in our ability to be able to serve this industry. Our platform is built like it's vertically integrated so that everything works. But then we disassemble it so that people can build and buy it in the configuration they want and assemble it the way they like. And so this second category is fairly poorly understood because there are just so many small companies or so many companies, and each one of the installations are relatively small compared to, of course, one of the hyperscalers. And so if you look at the segmentation and the size of each, you could see that, in fact, we're growing share in the hyperscalers because we now have much bigger support from Anthropic, a new partner of ours, and we're helping them expand their capacity greatly in the coming years. And then the second, very few companies have exposure into the second category because of the platform solution that we have.
Your next question comes from CJ Muse with Cantor Fitzgerald. Your line is open.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the question. You have Vera Rubin coming soon, and you obviously have great insight into coming updates to frontier models and new techniques to optimize around diverse AI workloads. With investors keenly focused on your market share and inference, how do you see Vera Rubin and your extreme co-engineering impacting your share of the inference market, as we look into late 26, 27?
Well, we are growing share in inference, and we're growing share in inference very, very quickly. And the reason for that is this year, the number of frontier model companies grew. And so there's Cursor and Perplexity, and there's some new model companies, TML and Reflection, and the list goes on. And so the number of frontier model companies has grown. And we added Anthropic to our partnership this year. They're expanding incredibly fast. We've partnered with them to secure computing capacity across Azure, AWS, CoreWeave. I forget who else we've already announced, but there's a whole list of others that we are bringing online for them. And so the amount of capacity that we're going to bring online for Anthropic this year and next year is going to be quite significant, very significant. And so we're growing, and our coverage of Anthropic has been largely zero until just recently. And so we're gaining share tremendously fast in inference. Vera Rubin is going to be even more successful than Grace Blackwell at this point. Every single, I can't think of one, every single frontier model company will jump on Vera Rubin from the get-go. And that wasn't true before on Blackwell. And so Vera Rubin is off to a tremendous start, and it'll surely be more successful than even Grace Blackwell. So I think the end of your answer, CJ, is that we're gaining share in inference. Let me go back again to the question that Ben was asking. Remember, so far, everything that I've just explained in the inference question is really focused on hyperscale. Remember, there's a whole second category of AI data centers that we serve almost uniquely. This segment is very fragmented, requires a really well integrated platform solution, and a very large go-to-market. And that segment, all of the inference, 100% of that, the vast majority of that, is NVIDIA. And then, of course, physical AI. NVIDIA is practically the only company serving physical AI today. And we've been working on physical AI for a long time. And so that is also growing. So our share of inference is growing very quickly.
Your next question comes from Timothy Arcuri with UBS. Your line is open.
Thanks a lot. Jensen, I wanted to ask about the traction you're getting with some of these custom merchant things you're doing, stuff like CPX and LPX. And I just wanted to ask and see sort of, you've talked before about fast instance being, I think, 20% of the market. So I would imagine you're getting pretty good traction with LPX. So can you just talk about that and maybe, also how that fits into your broader platform strategy? Thanks.
Can you delete my wrinkles?
The LPX is designed for low latency and high token rate, but its throughput is low. Its model size capacity is low, and its context processing, its ability to absorb a lot of context, for example, for software coding, for agentic workloads, its ability to absorb a great deal of context is lower. And so the challenge is simply, and I've explained before that the use case for LPX is not broad.
I'm going to get some sleep
it's,
for a couple of hours,
intended for
hopefully.
Somebody who has a fairly large portfolio of different types of token services. And for the high token rate, maybe these services are quite
Why the hell is she brought me?
premium.
It's the middle of nowhere.
And
I've got a place I want to go to.
Customers is not
She brought me in a
significant,
taxi.
but the token rate is very high.
It's the middle of bloody nowhere in Dunhuang.
That remains exactly consistent with what I've said before, and I still expect that. So I expect that LPX and other SRAM-based decode
the adventures you can have in old Don Juan. There's a place I want to go to in Don Juan. But that woman said, come with me in a taxi. I have no idea why she brought me here.
For some time to come. As you know,
to
Grace
empty
Blackwell
Don
and Vera
Juan.
Rubin,
Where are the people? There's massive buildings everywhere.
Life cycle of AI from
that's a funky
the
car.
data processing, preparing
There's massive
training,
buildings everywhere.
Okay, data processing,
but no people.
To pre-training.
China is just a huge ghost town.
Learning, all the way to inference.
It's very strange.
Grace Blackwell is the best platform in the world to do all of that. In certain circumstances, so long as the customer, the provider already has a high token rate service that they can offer, then we can tack on an LPX and they could deliver that service even better. So that's how I see the market. I think whether it's 20% or 10% just depends on where we are in the development of AI. I think today it's a lot less than 20%. Someday these premium tokens could be 20%. And we're ready to work with service providers to enable this capability. I'm excited.
Come by anytime. Okay, thank you. If you're bored, come and stay.
Comes from Vivek Arya with Bank of America Securities.
Found a hotel. What
Your
a
line is
fucking
open.
palaver that was. But look at the room. Not bad for 20 quid a night. You get a little divan.
A lot of excitement
you get a nice double bed. You get a big TV.
Just a lot of noise around.
You get a lovely bathroom. Everything there. 20 quid a night. And a nice reception.
I was just hoping that you could kind of
now we've got to get to the place
give your
that I came all this way
perspective.
for.
That first of all, is this an incremental workload? Is this kind of cannibalizing what the
Before
CPU
Islam
would have
came to this
than
region and
otherwise?
converted
And
everyone
then secondly, the
by
20
the way
billion
of the
number
sword.
that you gave, is that for
This whole
standalone
Silk Road
Vera
region
CPUs, or
was
is that kind
Buddhist.
of already
The people were
included
Buddhist.
in that Vera as part of
And some of the
Vera
Buddhist
Rubin? So
monks
just if you could educate us
in this
on
oasis
the role of
Dun
CPU
Huang
versus GPU, is it
hacked
cannibalistic, is it
Buddhist
incremental,
grottos
and then the 20
into the
billion number, how to kind
mountainsides.
of put that in context with
Let's
what
see if we
you
can look at
sell,
some.
right? Which is
I'm not
using
meant
the
to be
CPU
filming.
as part of the GPU.
So I'll have to do it on the sly.
The 20 billion
see.
is for standalone CPU. And I
Well,
remember
that was
we have,
the biggest
we have Vera
waste of time
is,
I've
used
ever
in 3 ways. As a
had
standalone
as a
CPU,
traveller.
4 ways.
I travelled
Let me just
5
start with
hours from
you already
Jichuan
know.
on that train
The first way is Vera Rubin.
to look and show you guys
We'll sell
the Buddhist caves,
millions of,
only to have
Rubens.
a no-camera policy
And
strictly.
every 2 of them
enforced.
is connected to a Vera.
So that's it.
And
now
of
what?
course we price those too.
Fuck's sake.
And
What disaster.
and they're properly priced.
Ni hao.
And so
Hello. Oh, you speak English.
that's number 1 use case. The second use case is
Well, 普通话
Vera
不知道。
standalone CPU. The third is
啊，
Vera
谢谢你，谢谢你。
with CX9 and
How many
and the
more
software stack
fucking
for storage.
times am I going to say ni hao,
And
wo
then
bu zhi dao?
Vera in a with CX9 with a software stack for security and
一个面条，
computer
一个啤酒。
and competition.
好的，谢谢。
And so each one of those use cases is built differently.
哪里我来了？
And my sense is that will be supply constrained throughout the entire life of the
Well, guys,
There
the
are
plan
4 different
was
use cases
to push
there.
on to Xinjiang and show you
But
Urumqi,
anyhow,
Kashgar, and some other Silk Road
the answer
cities.
to your question is of the 20 billion is a standalone. With
But
respect to
The situation is that
CPU
without any more Mandarin,
an agent,
I can't do much.
an
What am I
agent
going to
is
do? Say
essentially
ni
what
hao
we call a
again.
harness.
So
The
even
agent
ordering these
has-
noodles was a
has,
flipping
has
a difficult
harness that does
experience.
and the harness could be
So I'm going to go back to
claw,
you.
it could be hermetic,
Keep on practicing the old
code claw,
Mandarin. The
code-
Mandarin hasn't defeated me
code
yet.
is
Come back in the
essentially a
future,
harness
explore some
around
other part of the
Claude,
country.
around the opus
Hopefully.
model. OpenAI's Codex is a
Well,
harness
it's
around,
summertime.
the GPT
Street
5.5
here
model.
is
And
amazing.
so these are
that Great
harnesses,
Britain
and these
has such
harnesses
a housing crisis,
provide
such
for
a
things
homeless
like
crisis.
I/O,
And we have buildings
orchestration,
like this that,
memory
well, before they were
management,
destroyed, could have been used to
tool
home
use,
people.
connected to tools, for example,
But no,
browsers and
instead,
things like that,
no
C
investment.
compilers,
Austerity
compilers.
Britain.
And so
Just let them get destroyed.
the harness runs on CPU, and the tool use runs on CPUs. So for example, if the AI were to
Look
do a
at this.
search or do a browser, use a browser, that would run on the CPU.
Shackled and chained
The world has-
before
the
being
world
taken
has
down
a-
this road
a billion
towards their
users,
boat that
human
would take
users.
one.
My sense is that the
Who's
world
that
is
gonna
going to
be?
have
I'm sharing a pot with
billions
someone.
of agents. Not today. I mean, we're going to grow into it.
Oh, it's a little.
But
a little
we'll have
portal
billions
I
of
can
agents,
look
and
at my
those
pod
billions
partner
of agents will all
and
use
wave.
tools, and those tools are going to be like,
Oh, this is my
like
bathroom.
PCs, just like us
Middle of
humans
nowhere
using
in the North Atlantic.
using PCs today. In the future, you'll have an agent using
And up
PCs.
here,
And so
we've got
if
the
you kind of
Shetland
think along the
Parliamentary
lines of,
Office
in the
with our
future,
MP,
you pick your favorite
Beatrice
number of
Wishart.
agents at the moment. At the moment,
Are you a
call it
voter?
200,000, but in
There,
the future,
I'm
call
very
it,
wokey.
eventually. a
Oh,
few
do you not
billion.
like the woke either?
I could
Oh,
imagine
respect
them all
to you.
using the effective.
Everyone's woke in this country, apart from us.
That's
PCs
quite
that they can
right.
use.
Must be. Yeah.
Why?
so-
What's happened? Is that a
but
flip
the large
flag
language
everywhere we
every one
go?
of those-
every
No.
one of
The
those
other thing is,
agents are going to spin
you
off sub-agents,
can't say
and
that.
every time they spin
No,
off,
sorry,
you're going
I've
to need
said
to
it.
It's
do
exactly.
inference.
Well,
That's
everywhere
where the
you look in
thinking
this little town,
all of
you
the
can see
thinking
little
happens
hints
on
of the
GPUs.
Viking past. Look on top
All
of the
of the
Bank of Scotland building
orchestration
up here. You can see a Viking
essentially
ship.
runs on CPUs.
See it?
And the sub-agents, when they're spun off,
A Viking ship.
when they're
There's
thinking, they
Viking
use
stuff everywhere.
GPUs.
The first house of
whenever
Rome.
the agents use
A Methodist
simulators,
church. Look
those
at it.
can run on CPUs or GPUs.
Built probably,
The reason
I
we're
don't know,
working so closely
150
with
years,
Cadence and
got
Synopsys
flipping.
is
At the
to
end of the
accelerate
world,
all of the world's
these-
tools.
with
We're
some old
accelerating all of
pictures.
the world's tools and data
There are
processing
pictures.
engines
There are the pictures. Look at
and
it. And
We'll do one,
database
Noel.
engines
Let's go to
because
the lighthouse first. Should we go
agents
this way? Come on,
use
Benjamin.
these tools and have they have
Through
lower
the lonely
patience
streets of
tolerance than
Fula.
humans, and they want things to happen quickly.
Well, look at this.
And
This
so we're
island seems to be
accelerating all of
dotted
the world's tools so that it
with
runs
old
on CUDA.
structures like
and you could
this.
see us doing that,
Abandoned.
when I worked with
Oh, there's a bird there. Hello.
Cadence and Synopsys
Okay.
and Siemens and companies and Adobe, and that's because
Flipping
we're
bird
trying to
just
get
spat
all of the
me.
world's
Calm down.
tools to run on
Abandoned
GPUs,
crofters,
because they
little
already have
cottages,
GPUs and it's
dotted
a lot
all
faster.
around. Look at this. These
So-
thick
so we're
walls
gonna
now
need a lot
overtaken
more,
with moss.
CPUs, and Vera was
But
designed.
before the Great Plague of the
to be an
1700s, and the
agentic
smallpox outbreaks,
the CPUs of the
food was
past
much more
were designed to
populated. There
have
would have been
many
people all
cores,
over scattered around.
so that it could be
crofters,
easily
farmers,
rentable. People
sheep
rented
herders.
cores. Well,
But now-
agents don't rent cores; they just want the work to be done fast. The economics of the past was
This
dollars per core.
Is the old
That's the-
pub
that's
of
the
Fula. Look at it.
economics
They used to
of
come here
cloud
and get
computing of
drunk
the past.
back in the day.
The economics
the
of AI of
crofters
the
and the
future
shepherds and the smugglers
is
probably.
tokens per
And
dollar,
now all that remains
or dollars per token.
is this.
And so what we need to
The
do in the
old
future is to
British
generate tokens,
phone box.
process tokens
No
as
longer
fast
working.
as possible. And that's what Vera does
And no longer
incredibly
serving
well.
pints. Oh, I still got.
So we're expecting
a
to
few
be very
birds in the pub.
successful
Britain's
with Vera.
pretty ticket.
But
You and Timmy Carlson are high level, mate. So
ultimately what we're doing is we're building infrastructure for AI. And it needs incredibly great storage. That's the reason why we built STX. It needs incredibly good networking. That's why we have Spectrum X. It needs incredibly great GPUs, of course, and inferencing ability. That's the reason why NVIDIA 72. It needs incredibly great security and confidential computing, which is the reason why Vera Rubin's the world's first platform with end-to-end confidential computing. And it needs, great CPUs. We've got it all
you
covered.
can use whatever word in the English language you like, but
Your next question comes from Stacy Rasmussen with Bernstein Research. Your line is open.
All combat is rooted in deception. Art of War, Sun Tzu. And look at the deception of the game, Charles. And he's on
First
top
of all,
inside control.
I'm just curious,
and
where
then
do you
backs
put the
out.
neo clouds
That nose is
across those two
effective.
segments? Are they in hyperscale or are they in the AI cloud? Part of me assumes the latter, but I'm not so sure. And then, but just look at the magnitude of them. I mean, they're both about the same magnitude now. It almost sounded to me like you were suggesting that you thought the latter, the AI cloud, would grow faster, maybe going forward than hyperscale. Is that what you're trying to say, or do you just see like the same kind of growth coming from
You
those
asked
segments?
Jason about all the ways this fight could have gone. That's
First of all, you're correct that AI native clouds, AI native clouds don't build chips, don't design their own chips, and they don't want to. They can't really assemble.
His feet, he's using them to move his own body here.
Unrelated parts together into an AI factory. And their time, their patience, their tolerance for time to first token is extremely low.
Yes, absolutely. Now he's trying on it,
And
so he's pretty secure.
their need for
And maybe there's a knee bar
an
that you can
architecture
set
that
up
has
here.
a great deal of offtake, so that it runs every model, has customers from everywhere, is incredibly high.
From this position, we
And
can
so
reach down to that
that's the
knee,
reason
keep
why
that
NVIDIA's
body
architecture is so
triangle. Here he's
perfect
doing it with the
for
arm
them.
instead. Same concept.
We offer every
Keep the
component,
body control.
and whatever we don't
Under the
offer,
neck, I
our
believe.
ecosystem of partners offer it, and it's all fully integrated. It all works together.
palm.
The number of customers that could rent it from an AI native is incredibly high. Basically, every single AI builder, every AI native startup around the world, SaaS companies, enterprise companies, industrial companies, and so our computing, our architecture is the most rentable of any computing platform in the world. So it's the most performant. It's the easiest to put together. It's the most rentable, has the best TCO, and it's the easiest to finance. And so all of those properties are quite unique to the needs of AI natives. It's in the second category. They're very similar to even OEMs and so on and so forth, large enterprises and so forth, surprisingly. Okay, so we put that in the second category. To even OEMs. If you look at that segment, it started growing after. So we put that in the second category. The AI ecosystem developed in the hyperscale. Hyperscale developed AI first for a lot of reasons. They have great computer science. They have excellent data center capability, and they also focus largely on consumer applications, which, if not perfect, is not the end of the world. It enhances the service so long as it enhances the service. And so for many of the other applications, industrial applications, enterprise applications, until the AI is very capable and does really productive work and does it safely, and it could do it in a way that can actually generate impact and income, it doesn't really get used. And so you expect the second category to develop slower than hyperscale, and you could see that in the numbers. However, long term, if you look at industrial and enterprise are going to grow incredibly fast. And then I'm hoping that within the next 5 years, physical AI and robotics segment is going to grow incredibly fast.
Your next question comes from Jim Schneider with Goldman Sachs. Your line is open.
Good afternoon. Thanks for taking my question. Back at GTC, I believe you discussed a $1 trillion visibility into both your Rubin and Blackwell platform revenue, but I believe that excluded things like LPX, Rubin CPX, and the Vera CPU racks. Could you maybe give us a sense about whether the Vera CPUs are going to be the biggest source of upside above and beyond that $1 trillion? Are you contemplating other sort of combinations of products, including CPUs, that would allow you to gain an even greater share of that total TAM? Thank you.
In terms of incremental above the trillion, I would say one, the continued growing of share of the frontier AI models. I'm expecting to grow more share, and so I'm expecting that to grow. Number two, we didn't include any Vera CPU, standalone CPU in that number, and so I expect that to be the second largest. The TAM is, of course, quite large in agentic systems, and all of our customers are quite excited about Vera, and we're going to sell a whole bunch of Veras. And then third would be LPX. Because as I explained earlier, LPX is designed because of its SRAM architecture, it has the benefit of very low latency, very, very high interactivity, but it's also its throughput, its context processing ability is also quite limited. And that's just kind of the nature of SRAM type based systems. And but the combination, we'll be able to address the entire spectrum of AI from pre-training to post-training to inference to agentic systems through the combination of Vera Rubin and LPX.
Your next question comes from Joshua Buchalter with TD Cowen. Your line is open.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my question and congrats on the great results. Colette, I believe in your prepared remarks you mentioned GB300 is sort of the fastest ramp in the company's history. How should we think about Vera Rubin against this benchmark? It's obviously a new architecture at the silicon level, but it's similar rack. Does that mean we should expect a similar slope to the Vera Rubin ramp as the GB300, or should it be a bit more gradual given the new silicon? Thank you.
Yeah, well, we have indicated for a while that we will be launching Vera Rubin in the second half. We will start in Q3. That will be our initial pieces together. And then once we get to Q4, we're probably going to start to see our ramping continue. It's hard to say at this point what will be a faster ramp. But again, we have demand already planned. We've got POs. We've got almost all of our major customers ready to go. And these are very complex systems that we need to put together. So I think it's just about the timing that it's going to take for us to get that into market. Nothing else other than getting from production of all of the different systems that we have ready for ordered. So a little early to say, but yes, we're going to start in Q3 and continue to ramp into Q4. And Q1 of next year certainly is going to be very big as well.
There are no further questions at this time. Toshiya Hari, I turn the call back over to you.
Thank you. Before I hand it over to Jensen, please note Jensen will be giving a keynote at GTC Taipei at Computex on June 1st. We will also be participating at the TD Cowen TMT conference on May 28th and the Bank of America Global Technology Conference on June 4th. Our earnings call to discuss the results of our second quarter of fiscal 2027 is scheduled for August 26th. With that, here's Jensen to close us out.
This was an extraordinary quarter. Demand has gone parabolic. The reason is simple. Agentic AI has arrived. AI can now do productive and valuable work. Tokens are now profitable, so model makers are in a race to produce more. In the AI era, compute capacity is revenue and profits. NVIDIA is the platform of this era. Of all the platforms in the world, NVIDIA Compute supports the richest diversity of demand. Let me highlight my top 5 things. First, NVIDIA is the only platform that runs every frontier AI model. With the addition of Anthropic to our existing partners, OpenAI, xAI, Meta MSL, Gemini, and many others, our share of frontier AI is growing. Second, we are in every hyperscale cloud, supporting their core data processing and machine learning workloads, internal AI services, as well as supporting their demand for NVIDIA users in their public cloud services. Third, our full stack complete AI factory solution and vast global ecosystem let us uniquely address new AI data center segments, new AI cloud natives, new AI native clouds, and sovereign AI clouds, and on-premises enterprise and industrial infrastructure. This is that second category I was talking about earlier. Fourth, NVIDIA CUDA extends all the way to the edge. Robotics, autonomous vehicles, embedded medical instruments, AI, RAN, telco, base stations. The next wave is physical AI, with billions of autonomous and robotic systems operating in the physical world. This is the third segment we were talking about earlier. And rounding out the top 5 things, we have a major new growth driver, Vera, the world's first CPU purpose-built for agentic AI. Vera opens a brand new $200 billion TAM for NVIDIA, a market we have never addressed before. And every major hyperscaler and system maker is partnering with us to deploy it. The world is rebuilding computing for agentic AI and robotic physical AI. NVIDIA sits at the center of these transitions. We built NVIDIA Compute platform over 3 decades. One architecture, vast ecosystem, extreme co-design across chips, systems, networking, and software. We built it ahead of this moment so that when agentic AI arrived, NVIDIA would be ready. It has arrived. Look forward to catching up next time.
This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.
All right, that was fun. Market didn't really move on that news. If anything, actually NVIDIA's down 1.25%. So we're back to yesterday's price for NVIDIA. So we went up during the New York session 1.3%. Now we're down 1.3%. Nothing burger. All right, let's see if we how this next session's gonna go. I don't expect anything too crazy. Well, we opened up down 0.5% on NQ. Oil's up 0.75%. Well, this short's kind of playing out. See how low we can go. Oh, there you go. 50 points. All right, now this one micro short's really working out. It's 100 points. And we're still going. Wow. And people say one micro don't pay. Micros pay. Let's keep this short on. See how low we can go. We're keeping this short on forever until we get liquidated. Which wouldn't be too far from here. Well, just in a short. Nothing much to see here. We had the earnings. NVIDIA beat as usual. They talked about new sectors like robotics. Just taking a look at the order book. Nothing really interesting going on there. A little bit. Biggest order I see is like 21 contracts at 29,180. Other than that, NVIDIA earnings are over. No new headlines. State Bank of Pakistan, IMF, blah blah blah. Got oil coming up. Let's put another contract short on MNQ. All right, looks like we're rolling back up. That wasn't a good ad. Got the 90 and 50 there about to cross. Got the VWAP in between.